What's up, everybody? Of course, for your Thanksgiving class for Wednesday, Thursday, I'm going to break this up into 3 parts. So I grabbed this grappling dummy to work on the techniques today. We're going to do some back attacks and getting to the back and then also submitting someone from the back. And if you only have one gi, that's why I chose to use the grappling dummy, actually Ariana's grappling dummy. So that way this person can have the gi on and I can do all my techniques since I have no gi on. If you only have one gi and you don't have a partner like a brother or sister or cousin or anybody you can practice with, you can simply put this on your favorite stuffed animal or even maybe on a pillow or something that you can just throw the gi on and then do all the techniques. It'll still work, I promise you. Okay, so I'm going to start from the back right out the gate and then we're going to jump into getting to the back at the end and then hopefully you'll be able to link all this together. So right out the gate, I have what we call seated back control. So here I am. I'm in my seated back control. So my feet are over their legs. They are not crossed. Do not cross your feet when you have back mount or seated back control. And then my hands, okay, the hand that's coming around, lock it in. Do not have your hand, your choking hand on top. Okay, also don't have it grabbing the bottom hand. Make sure this hand comes across and then the bottom hand locks it in. And if you can pull it up underneath that armpit, that's even better. Okay, so for our very first thing, we're going to talk about the rear naked choke. And I think pretty much everybody knows this move, but I want to make sure we cover some finer details so you guys can practice it and make sure it really works for you when you guys are sparring or rolling or competing or whatever. So when I have this move, of course, traditional old school way, we would go down to the belly, come back up, so we make sure the jaw is lined up really well with our elbow point, and then this goes on my bicep. Make sure we know what our bicep is. Put on my bicep, put on their forehead, style their hair back, and then I squeeze. And that's a traditional, old-fashioned rear naked choke. Again, down, up, grab, check temperature, style their hair, tuck your ears, breathe in deep, squeeze your chest, and squeeze your arms. Or swell up your chest, squeeze your arms. All right. Now, if you've grappled, if you've done some of this, or you've competed, that's really hard to do. When you fire that arm all the way down, their hands are actively going to get involved and defend me. So what you have, and more realistically, is if you're trying to, you're gonna use this ice cream scooper motion. You're just gonna go whoop and get underneath that jaw that way. And then this hand comes out and goes behind the head. But again, my hand's on my bicep. That's important. Okay, so here I am. Hand comes underneath. If you already have a seatbelt and you're doing good here, you might be able to get your hand up on this shoulder and use your head to kind of push their head and then pull your arm back. Get on here, pull their head back a little bit more to get your elbow underneath there better, and then style the hair. That's a great way to do it as well. Okay, so that's your first technique. I want you to pause the video and I want you to do the rear naked choke at least 6 times on the right side and 6 times on the left. And what I mean by that is I want you to start here in this seatbelt position and I want you to either A, grip the shoulder, pull your hand back, come behind the head and do this, or I want you to practice the whole coming down, up, grab your bicep, style the hair, come behind the head, boom. Okay, so you just finished rear naked choke. Now let's go ahead and talk about the short choke. Maybe you're really struggling to get your arms in there. Maybe they're really good at defending and they're not letting your hand, go all the way down, come all the way up, grab here. They're not letting you have all that. Or maybe even the ice cream scoop is proving to be quite difficult. So what's going to happen is you're just going to kind of punch this across, getting it to where you're just flat, parallel, horizontally parallel with their shoulders. So your elbow is touching one shoulder, your palm is almost touching the other shoulder. Then this hand's going to come up, this is going to come palm down. So you have your what we call a gable grip. And at this point, you're going to pull both straight back equally. And as you pull that back, it's just going to cut your forearm right into their windpipe. That's called a short choke. And so it doesn't require all of this extra work. You just kind of go whoop, grip, and go. That's a short choke. Okay? Come across, grab, pull. Come across, grab, pull. Same as before. I want you to do 6 of each, okay? 6 on the right, 6 on the left. Pause the video, knock out 6, go for it. Question of the day, number 1. All right. Let's see. A couple weeks ago, I asked about how hard I hit a target. We call it the 5 degrees of destruction, okay? Can anybody give me the 5 degrees of destruction? And you can list them all out because I'm going to ask you guys a few questions right now. So you have 5 levels of how hard I hit this bad guy, okay? Tell me in the comment section below. Question 1, 5 degrees of destruction, list out all 5, okay? Okay, so you've done the short choke, you've done the rear naked choke. Now let's talk about variables when it comes to these chokes. We have the bow tie and we have the spinal choke out of the rear naked choke. So when I get this here, or even if it's almost like the short choke concept, I get this here. If I grip my palms together, aka the gable grip, and if I take my elbow and I push it in their back, notice how it opens up their back. There's your spinal choke, okay? Just like that. This isn't testable per se. It's just a variable of a rear naked choke. I got it from Professor Elio Seneca. This is the way he likes to do his rear naked chokes. Because again, doing all this, sometimes it's hard to pull off. So that's the spinal choke. And then the last version we're gonna give you guys is the bow tie. I bring my arm in here just like with this. Again, I'm getting this here, but this time my hand's gonna weave behind the head and tuck under my far side armpit, and then you get the choke. Okay, so here, and then this hand doesn't have to come in front this time. It goes, weaves right behind and goes under the armpit. It's almost like you're folding your arms. That's what I want you to think about. Okay, so there's 2 variables. I want you to do, same as before, I want you to do 6 of each. Okay, 6 on the right, 6 on the left. Pause the video, knock out 6, go for it. So you just got some chokes. Now we're also going to talk about what we call a face crank. So maybe I can't get my arm here, maybe I can't get this one, maybe I can't even get this. So what you're going to have now is where you just bring your hand across, just like in the short choke concept. You're going to bring your arm across the jawline. So jaw is 1, okay. Right underneath the nose is 1, bridge of the nose is 1, and then the eye socket is 1. And it doesn't matter which way you go. It can be off the jaw, can be under the nose, can be the bridge of the nose, can be the eye socket. All right, so there you go. So you have 4 chokes and you have 4 face cranks. So it's 8 different versions or 8 different techniques, different moves you can work on. You got a 3-minute round, go ahead and knock it out. And then after that, we'll get into some lapel chokes. Go. And we're going to talk about some lapel chokes. So maybe for whatever reason you can't make any of this stuff work, or maybe you just don't have the heart in you to face crank somebody. Remember, if you do face crank somebody, they're going to be kind of mad at you. Okay, so what we're going to talk about is the Liberty Bell choke first. So if you're trying to get all this and maybe they're shutting you down, they're taking their hand and they're doing everything right, they're trapping your arm. So now you have this, and there is a way to grab the shoulder and to use your temple and to squeeze and get the rear naked choke. It's called the 1-arm rear naked choke that way. I have a hard time with it, but it is doable. So if you can hold onto that shoulder and then just push really hard with your temple against their head and do everything else right. Swell up your chest, roll your shoulders back, do all the things, you can still choke them, okay? But let's just say for whatever reason you can't. So now, they trapped your arm, you're simply going to reach over and you're going to grab the far side lapel. On this hand here, I'm going to reach, I'm going to fold the collar, and I'm going to grab this near side collar. Collar here, lapel down here. And what's going to happen is I'm going to pull down on one, and I'm going to pull up on the other. And that's the motion. It's called the Liberty Bell choke, okay? Pull down, ding, 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 ding. As you pull down this to their belly button or to the knot of their belt, as I pull this hand down, I pull that hand up, and that's where I get the Liberty Bell choke, okay? From here, if you have the ability, if they're resisting with this hand, you can shoot that behind the head, and there's your single wing choke, okay? I'm going to show you another variable of the single wing that I find a little bit more practical, but this is the traditional way of setting it up. So I have the Liberty Bell choke, and if that's not working, then I come behind the head, and I still have the choke here, and then I push and pull. And there's a single wing because you're under one arm. Single wing choke. Awesome. Okay, so you got the Liberty Bell choke, single wing choke. Okay, go ahead. Let's knock out, again, 6 of each. So you got 6 set up on this side, 6 where you set up on this side, 6 where you go behind on this side, 6 where you go behind on this side. Go for it. Question number 2. There is a thing we call in martial arts called the empty mind principle. Who can describe or explain to me in the comment section below what the empty mind principle is? Several of you guys have been here for the experiment I put out, and I do a full little experiment to kind of explain it to you guys. Go ahead, tell me a little bit about it. Put in the comment section below. Give me a couple. Sweet. So you have that now. And keeping the same grip, and this folded collar grip is really important for me. I'm going to keep that as much as I can. Now we're going to talk about the bow and arrow choke. Okay, this is probably one of my all-time favorite chokes when it comes to the gi and when it comes to jiu-jitsu. So I have the lapel here, and I had the lapel here. So I'm working that single wing, and they're doing whatever they need to defend that. So what's going to happen is I'm going to take this hand, and I'm going to drop away, and I'm going to grab the gi pants. Right here, okay? Again, if you're using a pillow, just grab the bottom of the pillow, okay? It won't be a big deal. Now, I'm gonna move my legs pretty slow, but this will happen all in one motion. But I'm gonna take one leg, step out, take leg 2, step across. Make sure you use your toes to hook their body. Fall to your side, okay? So notice I'm on my side. I'm releasing that grip a little bit because it's killing my wrist, okay? But this is here. Now this foot is going to come over the top. If I can capture the arm, beautiful. If not, if it just captures the shoulder, also good. Now, everybody thinks you pull to make this choke happen, and that's not the case. What it is you turn your leg in, okay? And that's where the choke happens. You can even stretch the leg a little bit, but it's definitely a turn first. So when I have this grip, that's the motion I want. And then I can also, what Professor Carlos talks about, turning the key. I'm going to try this other side to see if that helps my wrist a little bit. I'm here. I grip the gi pants. I fell off to the side. Again, notice I have that foot hook. I'm holding the gi pants here. And this is coming over the top. This is 10 times better, by the way. And so I'm going to rotate my knee. See how that tightens it up? And so it's a rotate down as I push, and there's the bow and arrow choke. Okay? If you can capture underneath that arm, it's gravy. It's awesome. Okay? Thanksgiving, gravy. Tasty. So there's your bow and arrow choke. So here I am. I'm in my seatbelt position. Fold the collar. Slide your hand right up. Okay? If you can't get the Liberty Bell choke, then you're just going to grab. You're going to fall off to the side. Let that leg come over across. This comes on the shoulder. And there's your choke. Or hook under the arm. And there's your choke. Okay. I want 10 on each side for this one. 10 setups with the right hand going in the collar. 10 setups with the left hand going in the collar. And go. So you did all 10 of those. Great. So at this point now, I still have that collar grip. I still have the gi pants. I'm still over the shoulder. Again, you could always reach in like this, nice deep grip with the leg, so then they can't straighten their leg to get out of this. Okay, if I'm simply here, they can kick their leg really hard, boom, and I lose grip. Or I still have this grip, by the way. They'll take this hand and they'll push your hand away. And that's where the single wing is going to come into play. So when I'm here and this person pushes that hand away, when you punch that behind their head now, because when the arm's extended, it's easy to move around. So when they push on that, I just shove that behind their head, and that's a better single wing choke. Much better than trying to just get it underneath the armpit and they're going to punch your hand down. So I want you to set up your bow and arrow to get your single wing. One more time. So as I drop out, I'm here. As he pushes that hand away, I come up behind, and there's the single wing choke. Again, I want 10 on the right, 10 on the left. It's giving you more practice for that bow and arrow as well as for that single wing. Question of day number 3. In your student guidebook or in your student handbook, whatever you want to call it, you guys have several pages. They talk about rules and stuff. There's a thing called the heart, H-E-A-R-T, the heart of Kishi Dojo. Tell me in the comment section below what the heart of Kishi Dojo is. The H-E-A-R-T, each word means something. What is it? Go. Okay, so you just finished that. I want to get into 2 more things before we close out this part 1. First thing is body triangle. So if you have the ability, you could set up a triangle on a body lock, a triangle body lock on your opponent to keep control of your opponent. It's only going to work, of course, if you have long enough legs or if they're tiny enough or skinny enough. So I simply have one across, and then I love to get my foot hooked underneath that other leg. This is like the ideal body triangle for me. This is like fun. And I don't let this leg ever go to the ground if I don't have to. So this is where I want to be. And then there's all of my setups. There we have everything. So I want you just to start here with your dummy. Move your leg across, body triangle, fall to the side, and then just, if you are using a pillow, just simulate your foot hooking under the leg. If you happen to have a sibling or somebody you can do this with, then hook under the leg if you can. If you miss a leg or it's not there, it's not the end of the world. Just make sure you're hiding your foot or it's on the floor, something to keep you from getting rolled to the other side. Okay, so give me, again, 6 of those per side. Go. And for the hardest move of the day, and again, if you have a little bit of trouble with this, don't worry about this. This isn't on the curriculum for quite a while, but we call a vertical triangle choke with legs from the back. Okay, and so what I'm going to do, give me that arm. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I got the grip on the arm, and what's going to happen is I'm going to fall out to the side, and this leg here is going to come up on their neckline, almost like I had the triangle choke, but from the back. And then this comes across. And then remember I had that arm? That's where I'm going to pull that. And there's a vertical triangle choke with legs. Okay? And what's cool is depending on how everything plays out, okay, I have this arm. There's a lot of times it'll go under the other way, and that also works. So here's the secret. They both work. When I fall to this side and I do this, I need to make sure my ankle bone is like right here in the crook of their neck. So when I do this, it turns into almost like a little bit of a neck crank. Okay, and then worst case scenario, it falls back to an armbar. Oh, I forgot the back mount armbar. Ooh, shame on me. Oh, we got one more move. Okay, but if it goes the other direction, it's an actual just triangle choke. So I step on the hip, pull my foot way up underneath that armpit, and then I'm here. And if I turn him to face you, you see where that's at. And then, of course, you can grab the elbow, grab the sleeve, and squeeze from there. And there's your vertical triangle choke with legs from the back. And as I just said, I forgot one. The easiest one, seatbelt, hug the shoulder, drop out, back mount armbar. Seatbelt, hug the shoulder, hand comes around, back mount armbar. All right, so last round, give me another 3-minute round playing with those last moves, the 2 different triangle chokes and the back mount armbar. All right, last question of the day. Okay, number 4, I believe. What does Kishi Dojo mean? The ki, the shi, the do, the jo. All of those words have a meaning. What does Kishi Dojo mean? Put it in the comment section below. All right, see you guys later. All right, so there you guys have it. You have several different submissions and attacks from the back. Now we have one thing left to show you is how to get to the back. When you do this last round, I want you to take like a 5-minute round and play with all the various options. Make sure you're trying these things out. Don't just do 1 or 2, or don't just do the 6 and be like, okay, I got it. You don't have it. Remember, we need to have a certain number of techniques in order to have a technique memorized. We talk about this all the time. You needed a certain number. How many is it? Okay, how many techniques have a technique memorized on the right side, and then the same numbers for the left side? And then you also have to have a certain number of techniques on the right and left to have it for at speed in combat. What is that number? Put that in the comment section below. So here I am, and I got to the full mount, and I want to get to the seated back control. So what's going to happen is this. I'm going to take one arm, and I'm going to push it past, and I'm just going to get that arm right where it's past my chest point, okay? From here, I can use my hand to assist if I need to. I'm going to reach my hand up underneath, and you can either grab the wrist or you can grab the sleeve. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that to help roll them. And then once I have them where I want them, I can drop back for my seated back control. Push them across, reach up underneath. I'm putting my hand down like this. It normally would be planted, but again, as I said, I hurt my wrist, so I kind of have to do this in order just to support it. But as I push them here, roll my chest, you can keep rolling them all the way to they're on their belly, but it's hard to attack that way. So at this point now, I'm in this weird seated position, almost like I was going for the bow and arrow choke, but I go in for the seated back control. And then your hand can come over the top. My hand's already over the top, so I just have here. After you get your seated back control, say 10 times on the right, 10 times on the left, I would say start in full mount. Use that technique, the chest roll to back mount, get your seated back control, and then go into any one of the moves. And I would say do this for at least a 3 to 5 minute round, playing with all the various options. Cool? That is it for part 1. Stay tuned for part 2. This will be the, like I said, for the advanced TFC Jiu-Jitsu kids, as well as the kickboxing will be part 2, which is going to be the striking. Cool. See you guys in part 2.